Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro led Thursday an official ceremony for the integration of the Bolivarian national militia into the basic units of territorial government or Peace Quadrants. The President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, requested the Colombian Senate, state and the international community to consider the so-called drug dealer board and its gangs as terrorist organizations. And in Ecuador, Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa announced Wednesday the extension of the state of emergency in 4 provinces due to increasing insecurity in the country. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro led Thursday an official ceremony for the integration of the Bolivarian national militia into the basic units of territorial government or Peace Quadrants. According to the Venezuelan president, the communal defense plan will be implemented with the articulation of community brigades, security forces and popular organizations to guarantee territorial protection and immediate response to any threat. Maduro also pointed out that the Bolivarian national militia was created with a strategic vision to guarantee peace, sovereignty and the unity in the country, and highlighted the resistance of the Venezuelan people in the face of the U.S. aggressions. But we are today observing, what we are observing, and you know this better than anyone, is something that we have built along the years of revolution. The people has built up its own power, social, political, economic and military power. Today, there are no differences between the powerful, professional and revolutionary Bolivarian armed forces and the people in arms. In this regard, President Nicolás Maduro recalled the beginnings of the Bolivarian national militia and the central role played by Commander Hugo Chavez in its creation. Commander Chavez made a military revolutionary, founded the military armed forces of the Bolivarian Republic in doctrine, in strategic concept, in values, in ideology. And among many other great achievements of the military revolution of Venezuela in this 21st century, he founded the militias, the Bolivarian national militias, which is the common people in arms, trained, uniformed, armed, prepared, and set to defend the homeland in the face of any foreign enemy. On Wednesday, Venezuela's Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez warned that the U.S. government that any attack on the Bolivarian nation would be perceived as an attack on the entire region. The head of national defense emphasized that his country has armed forces and a dignified population with a strong sense of patriotism, ready to defend their sovereignty. He made it clear that the Bolivarian nation is capable of preserving its territory and independence, and warned Washington of the consequences of any military action in the region.
I tell the United States not to dare to interfere here in Venezuela. I say this on behalf of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces, who feel this in their hearts and in their blood. Don't you dare, because we are not just the armed forces, we are a united people, with a national identity, who want and love peace, who want and love our country. Don't set foot on Venezuelan territory and attack our sovereignty, because it would not only be Venezuela, it would be an aggression against all of Latin America. Even though there are governments that are vassals loving their imperial masters, even so, there are the peoples. That would be an aggression against all the peoples of Latin America and the Caribbean.
And Venezuela's Executive Vice President Delcy Rodriguez accused Wednesday the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, of being the largest known drug cartel in the world. The statement was made on Telegram, where the Venezuelan Vice President stated the DEA Director, Terry Cole, is well aware that the DEA is the largest drug cartel in the world. Countless documents and pieces of evidence support this claim. The reports of the agency he heads, called National Drug Threat Assessment for the years 2024 and 2025, do not mention Venezuela as a factor of importance in the drug trafficking to the United States. This crude ploy seeks to justify an aggression against Venezuela in order to take over its immense energy resources and undermine Bolivarian internationalism. The entire planet knows that the real cartel is in the north. Venezuela will firmly defend its territorial integrity, its sovereignty, and the historical dignity of its people. And as part of the Back to the Homeland plan, Flight 59 from Bolivia landed at Simón Bolívar International Airport in La Guaira, Venezuela on Thursday. The Venezuelan Ministry of Interior, Justice and Peace reported the arrival of 59 people from various South American countries, including 19 men, 20 women and 20 children. The authorities said that various security forces would be responsible for providing comprehensive assistance to the citizens, and since the reactivation of Back to the Homeland plan operations, more than 10,631 Venezuelans have returned home as part of the national government's efforts. And the ALBA TCP organization published on Thursday the final declaration resulting from the 13th extraordinary meeting of heads of state. The statement begins by stating that they express strong and total support for the constitutional president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro Moros, who is once again facing a brutal offensive of political and judicial persecution promoted by the United States, and we categorically reject the orders of the United States government to deploy military forces under false pretext with a clear intention of imposing illegal and interfering policies contrary to the constitutional order of the states of Latin America and the Caribbean. It continues saying, we condemned the imperialist policy of harassment and destabilization, which through unilateral and coercive measures, blockades, diplomatic, blackmail and media campaigns seeks to undermine regional peace and security in open contravention of the spirit of cooperation, brotherhood and dialogue that should prevail among free nations. The document concludes by stating, today, as the vanguard of free peoples, we declare that true peace can only come from social justice, respect for the laws and sovereignty of nations, and the self-determination of peoples in the face of imperialism that threatens with wars, violence, and blockades. Latin America and the Caribbean reaffirm that they will follow the path of Bolivar, Martí, Chavez, and Fidel, and reaffirm their irrevocable commitment to protect our region so that we may continue to be a zone of peace and coexistence. And now we have a short break coming up. But first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, requested the Colombian state and the international community to consider the so-called drug dealer board and its gangs as terrorist organizations. From the Department of CESAR, President Petro said that in view of the events, he is requesting that the so-called FARC dissidents of Ivan Mordisco, the Second Marquetalia, and the Clan of the Gulf be considered terrorist organizations. In this sense, he pointed out the possible link of these criminal criminal gangs, with the attack and murder against Senator Miguel Uribe Turbay. On the other hand, the Colombian president condemned the terrorist attack perpetrated by organized crime against a helicopter in the northwest of the country, which caused the death of 8 national police officers whose mission was the eradication of coca leaf crops. Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa announced Wednesday the extension of the state of emergency in 4 provinces due to increasing security in the country. During his official visit to Buenos Aires, the Ecuadorian head of state explained that criminal groups seeking to undermine the country's social order now control some territory, and also added that in recent months acts of violence have been taking place in municipalities where criminal activity previously did not occur. In this regard, Noboa ordered the armed forces and the national police to carry out inspections and raids with the intention of restoring public order. Ecuador is suffering a security crisis with more than 5,500 homicides in the first half of the year. An official U.S. State Department report revealed that extrajudicial executions, torture, and arbitrary detentions have taken place in Ecuador since President Daniel Noboa declared the internal armed conflict in the country in 2024. The report includes documented cases of serious human rights violations by state forces during security operations directed against criminal groups classified as terrorists. Among the most serious cases reported is the killing of 15 people during the military operations authorized by the Ecuadorian government. The measure allowed the armed forces to support the national police in actions against 22 organized crime organizations. However, it generated international concern due to possible excesses committed during its implementation. Honduran President Xiomara Castro expressed her solidarity with Honduran migrants in the United States after Washington canceled the Central American nation's temporary protection status, TPS. The head of state assured that her government will continue its support to the Honduran migrants with actions to guarantee stability, dignity, and social justice. Castro added that Washington's decision puts thousands of Honduran families at risk of losing their legal status in the North American nation, as well as their work permits and their protection against deportation. The United States ruling affects the temporary protection status of 60,000 people from Honduras, Nepal, and Nicaragua. In Uruguay, high demands for homeless shelters continues after authorities issued a red alert due to low temperatures. According to the Uruguayan National Emergency System, more than 2,970 homeless have been taken in by shelters and evacuation centers from June 23rd to the beginning of August 2025. The agency also informed that 2,040 others were housed in shelters run by the Ministry of Social Development, and around 566 were received in evacuation centers set up before the emergency. The ministry has also launched a consultation process to develop a lasting national strategy for assisting people living on the streets. We have a second short break coming up. Before, we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Mexico's economy showed a new record in foreign investment during the second quarter of 2025 in spite of the tariffs imposed by the United States. During her daily press conference, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said foreign investment reached a record high of over $34.2 billion during the period. Sheinbaum also assured that the so-called fourth transformation model carried out by her administration not only contributed to reduce poverty in the nation, but also generated new investments in key sectors such as automotive, machinery and tourism. In this sense, the Mexican head of state emphasized the growth of the gross domestic product and the reduction of inflation by 20% with respect to July.
Ni los aranceles pudieron con.
Not even tariffs were able to bring down the Mexican economy. It's $34,265 billion. 2025 exceeds the $31,096 billion of 2024, which was already a record, and is practically more than double that of 2017. Remember that they said that if minimum wages increased, there would be inflation. That was the myth of neoliberal obscurantism.
The Mexican president also rejected Washington's criminalization of migrants living in the United States.
Es parte del diálogo que se tiene permanentemente entre.
It's part of the ongoing dialogue between the U.S. State Department and Mexican Foreign Affairs, and also the work we are doing to reinforce our consulates by giving them more support so that they can hire more lawyers who belong to associations, so that they can defend our compatriots there. And therefore to improve the entire platform so that any of these aggressions can be denounced. We can file complaints in the United States about human rights violations. We support the people that are living through that violation so that he or she can file their complaint. And of course, we don't agree with such violations nor with these schemes of criminalizing migrants in the United States. We have said that many times, not only in public but also during our talks with the State Department, and we will always defend Mexicans living in the United States and who also contribute so much to the U.S. economy.
The Israeli regime has killed more than 9,000 Palestinians since the launching on Wednesday of the second phase of the so-called Operation Gideon's Chariots that seeks to implement the total occupation of the Gaza city. According to the Gazan government's press office, over 36,900 people have also been injured during the operation. The figure includes children, women and elderly people who are the most vulnerable population sector in the region. The press office also informed that other victims include men shot in cold blood by Israeli forces at humanitarian aid distribution points and in aid convoys entering the Gaza Strip. The foreign minister of Russia and India met Thursday in Moscow to strengthen bilateral relations and their cooperation strategies. According to both leaders' agenda, the meeting focused on strategic cooperation, the upcoming annual Russia-India summit, and bilateral trade. According to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, the talks with his Indian counterpart Subrahmanyam Jaishankar take place following the evolution of the world's geopolitical situation and current economic and trade changes. He also assured that Delhi and Moscow seek to promote a balance in their alliances and to keep bilateral groups active in accordance with the world order. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.